Viewers, here are 10 questions for President Mahama that we believe he should be asked tomorrow. We are going to share them with you now. And for the journalists who are attending, please remember that you are flying the flag of Ghanaian journalism. After the press conference, there's going to be a lot of analysis. Let's not let people come and say that, oh, the journalists couldn't ask any sensible question. Oh, the journalists, sometimes we hear that. Sometimes too, we hear that the journalists ask sensible questions. Let's have on the average 90%, 95% of the questions coming in the evening. Very, very, very solid. But here are 10 questions that you can look at and grapple with, 10 it upside down, however you want. And perhaps if you get the opportunity, you may ask. Question number 1. Mr. President, the 10 churches that is claimed you built for the Assemblies of God Church, was it with state funds or was it with your personal funds? That's question number 1 for President Mahama tomorrow. Question number 2. Mr. President, Johnson Adom-Otchere argues that a state of emergency is not the way to go to address Galamsey, which is contrary to the position taken by the NDC during opposition. Do you agree with your party chairman, Johnson Adom-Otchere, that you cannot give a state of emergency in the Galamsey areas? That's question number 2. Question number 3 for the President of Ghana. Mr. President, the United States has now cut Ghana off the MCC. Will you now redeploy Mr. Alexander Mould to another office? That's a soft question. So if you have to drop one question, you can drop. That's a soft question. We are just asking about what the MCC will be doing now that the Americans are not dealing with that situation. All right. Question number 4. Mr. President, over the last 8 months, which minister would you term as the best performing and which will you term as the worst performing among the following ministers? Minister for Justice, the Attorney General. Minister for Energy, Minister for Communications, Minister for Foreign Affairs, and the Minister for Health. I give the list of ministries again from which we are asking the President to choose the best and the worst. Justice and Attorney General, Energy and Renewable something, Communications, Sam George, Foreign Affairs, Ablakwa, or Health, Minta Akando. That's the one that we used to answer the questions in primary school. Take the odd one out. Shade the odd one out. Which one will the President take? We'll see that. We'll hear that from him when the press conference comes. Question number 5. In terms of having press conferences, you seem to have always conducted your first press conference quite late as compared to other presidents. What is the reason for this? Do you want to gather all or more information before you do your press conference? Now, the meaning of this question is that we have looked at all the other former presidents of the Fourth Republic who did press conferences, starting with Kufuor. Kufuor did his press conference in the first 100 days. Professor Mills had his press conference in April. Nana Akufo-Addo has his press conference in July. During the first administration of President Mahama, he actually had his first press conference the following year after his inauguration. He was sworn in January 2013. He had his press conference 1 year, January 2014. This time, he's having his press conference 8-9 months down the line. The question is, why does he take so long to have the press conference? All right, the first press conference. Question number 6. Following the unfortunate helicopter crash, there has been a conversation about purchase of a new presidential jet. Has the Ghana Air Force advised you to initiate the purchase of a new presidential jet? That's the question for the president. You didn't add, producer, that Sami Okujeto said that the presidential jet currently there is in pristine condition until 2030. So our question to the president is that Okujeto having said that the presidential current jet is in pristine condition until 2030, which doesn't come, it comes even after the next election. Has the Ghana Air Force advised His Excellency John Mahama to get a new presidential jet? That's a question for the president. Okay. Question number 7. Mr. President, there is a conflict in Bawku now. It seems you campaigned and posited that one of the heads of the faction was the legitimate chief of Bawku. Do you think the current disturbances are as a result of that act of yours? That is asking the president a direct question. That during the campaign, you said there was a legitimate chief in Bawku, and now there's conflict. Do you think that your saying so may have occasioned the conflict? Question number 8. Mr. President, how will you fund the 4 billion 24-hour economy project now that funding has been withdrawn by the MCC? Now, the reason why we link MCC to that is MCC was giving us some money to do certain things. Now they are not there again, especially in terms of agriculture. We may have to find our own money for that. Whilst you are finding your money for that, Augustus Guzitano and his team say that you need 4 billion to begin and actualize the vision of 24-hour economy. So the question to the president is that, where are we on the 24-hour economy? Now we know we need 4 billion. Now we have some 100 million that was coming that we now need to cough it up ourselves. In all of these circumstances, where are you going to find a free 4 billion to initiate the vision of the 24-hour economy? That's the question for the president. Question number 9, and this is a very, very, very controversial one. Question number 9 for the president. Mr. President, Kwabena Edubwai mentioned in his letter to the National Security Secretariat that he had handed over some money to the NDC to aid in their election results coalition capacity. There was even an allusion to a meeting between the late Dr. Mani Boama and Kwabena Edubwai. Mr. President, can you confirm that you received some monies from the National Security Secretariat during the campaign, as alluded to by Kwabena Edubwai in his letter to the National Security Coordinator? That's a very controversial and very touchy question to the president, because it's asking him to divulge national security secrets. But if the question comes, let's see how the president will deal with it. Question number 10, last one. During the period that Ghana cedi was gaining value against the dollar, the prices of goods were not commensurate with the currency trend. Could the Bank of Ghana have done anything to avert this? That's a question for the president again. I don't know whether he's going to have his ministers lined up. I guess they will be there. So if they will be there, this is a question for Case Latufosen. Viewers, if you have some questions to add to my 10 questions, please send it to us on our social media page, Good Evening Ghana Official, and then we can deal with it.